सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयः यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये ततो जयमुदीरये। When Bhagavan Kapila expounded the true nature of devotion, Mother Devahuti had a desire to know more about devotion. So then she asked Bhagavan, I want to know more about this devotion. So therefore, now this topic is elaborated. What does Bhagavan say? Mother, devotees are of 4 types. Bhakti yogo bahuvidha margai bhamini bhavyate स्वभावगुणमार्गेण पुंसां भावो विभिद्यते. According to the nature of a devotee, according to the gunas in him, according to his tendencies, his inclinations, the devotees are also various kinds. Different types of devotees are there. They all worship a higher power, but intentions are different, desires are different, vasanas are different, gunas are different. So what are the different types? The first one is a tamasa bhakta. Who is a tamasa bhakta? Abhisandhaya yo himsam dambham matsaryameva va samrambhi bhinna drugbhavam mai kuryat satamasaha. So he is a tamasa bhakta. In his bhakti there will be lot of himsa, dambha, matsarya, bhinna drugbhavam. So according to a tamasa bhakta, definitely he is different from God. Number one. So there is a higher power he worships. So in any worship, these three factors are important. What are the three factors? Number one, the altar of worship. In worship, these three factors come into picture. Number one, altar of worship. Number two, the mode of worship, the method of worship. And number three, the purpose of worship. In fact, these details are elaborately covered in the 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. The same content is reproduced here. So for a tamasa bhakta, who is his altar? Bhutas, Pishachas, ghost, spirit. This is what he will worship. And in his worship, what kind of worship it will be? Lot of himsa will be there. Killing will be there. Bloodshed will be there. His worship will be somewhere in the midnight, in some cremation ground. Blood will be the Naivedyam. All those things you see in some serials, films, etc. So they are all called Tamasa Bhakta. And why do they worship such Bhagavan, such ghost? Only to harm others. The purpose is to harm others. All those black magic, etc. comes under this category. There will be a lot of anger, jealousy, cruelty. So this is a tamasa bhakta. So the kind of worship you do, it tells something about you. It tells something about your understanding about the world. So according to a tamasic devotee, his understanding is others are the cause of all problems. Let me eliminate others, then I will be happy. This is his philosophy. So he takes refuge in all these kind of things. Now about a Rajasa Bhakta. Vishayan abhisandhaya yasha aishwaryameva va archadavarchayedyo mam prathak bhavassa rajasah. So who is a Rajasic Bhakta? He is doing worship Vishayan abhisandhaya. He is interested in the Vishayas of the world. All kind of enjoyments, entertainments, pleasures, yasha, name, fame, power, position, all kinds of aishwarya, lordship. So with this intention he worships. Bhagavad Gita says he worships yakshas and rakshasas. Yakshas are the brothers of Kubera. So he worships those people who are very rich, influential. Such gods he worships, and such people also in the society he worships. He keeps in contact with all influential people, politically powerful people, MPs, MLAs, mayors, that is in the society. Because he values all these things. Name, fame, etc. Again, prathak bhavaha. He considers Bhagavan as different from himself. So a Rajasic Bhakta, there will be a lot of pomp and show in his worship. The purpose is material gain. Artha kama is the purpose. He will not harm others, but he will be very selfish. So even when he worships, he is not interested in God. He is interested only in the world. To get the worldly benefits, he needs the support of God. So this is the kind of bhakta. He is an artharthi bhakta. So this is a Rajasic Bhakta. So next one should be Satvik Bhakta. Who is he? Karma nirharamuddishya parasmin va tadarpanam yajet yashtavyamiti va prathak bhavassa satvikah. So, who is a sattvic devotee? A sattvic devotee is a jitnyasu. A sattvic devotee is a person who has thoroughly understood the scriptures. Now he had understood that real happiness comes only from self-reformation. Happiness is not in the outer world. So therefore this name, fame, etc. will not help. All my problem is because of my mind. I have to get rid of this birth-death cycle. My own self is an embodiment of peace. Only with a pure mind I can reach my own self. So therefore all his effort is in what? In purification of mind. So here is a devotee who has thoroughly understood the spiritual principles. And therefore now he is putting forth effort. So what kind of worship will be? So his God will be a sattvic God, a loving God, a peaceful God. What kind of personality you have, that personality will be reflected in your Ishta Devata also. If you have a Ghora personality, your Ishta Devata will be also Ghora. So naturally such a God he will worship. So what will be the mode of worship? That also will be what you call sattvic way. He will offer tulasi or bilvapatra. That mode of worship is also very sattvic. He will get up in Brahma Muhurta. His prayers also will be full of surrender, love, devotion, etc. Full of forgiveness. All divine virtues will be seen in him. So what is the purpose? The purpose of all worship is Bhagavan, free me from this birth-death cycle. Karma nirharyam uddishya. All the bondage is because of my own karma. So therefore he performs all action to get rid of this bondage, self-created bondage. So what is his attitude towards his sadhana? Yashtavyam iti. This must be done. Very clear. This is something which cannot be missed. So in his life, the spiritual sadhana take the highest priority. His attitude is yashtavyam. This must be done at any cost. All my suffering is because my own impurity of mind. So this mind has to be purified and it should merge with the Lord. So this way, he is very serious about his spiritual practices. Such a devotee is a sattvic devotee. Now Bhagavan says there is one more devotee who is even higher. Who is he? Madguna shruti matrena mai sarva guhashaye manogatira vichinna yatha gangam bhasombudhau lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya hudahrutam ahaitukya vyavahitaya bhakti purushottame. So Bhagavan says he is even beyond this sattva also. He is a gunatita bhakta or nirguna bhakta. So what is his state of mind? Mad guna shruti matrena. Just by listening to my name, his mind becomes single pointed unto the Lord. Manogatihi avichinna. There is a continuous, unbroken, uninterrupted thought flow unto the Lord, just like Gangam Basombudho, like Ganga flowing into ocean. Single pointed flow. So just like Ganga flows unto the ocean, in the same way his mind flows unto the Lord. Lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya. So this is nirguna bhakti. Why is he loving God? Ahaituki avyavahita. There is no reason why he loves God. It is an unconditional love without reason. So such a bhakta, you can call it the highest, the best. Salokya sarti samipya sarupyaikattvamapyuta diyamanam na grunhanti vinamatsevanam janah. Bhagavan says, I am ready to give anything to him, but he doesn't want. I am ready to give him salokya. Salokya means bhakta going into the world of Bhagavan. That is salokya. Sarshti. Sarshti means all the powers which Bhagavan has, gaining such powers. Sarshti. Samipya. Coming very near to Bhagavan. Samipa. This is the third one. Then Sarupya. Gaining the form identical to Bhagavan. That is Sarupya. Then Ekatvam, or sometimes it is called Sayujya. Sayujya means becoming one with God. So Bhagavan says, I am ready to give him Salokya, Sarshti, Samipya, Sarupya, Sayujya. But this devotee, Diyamanam na grunhanti, he doesn't want. Absolutely desireless. So that day, as I told you, if Mukti is kept here and Bhagavan is kept on the other side, which one will he choose? He doesn't want Mukti. Because he feels that it is an expression of ingratitude. You have come up to the, the gate of moksha. So the devotee says, Bhagavan, it is you who has brought up to this, so I don't want to lose you in order to gain moksha. So for him, Bhagavan is greater than moksha, or even bhakti is greater than moksha. Then what is it that he wants? Vina matsevanam jana. Bhagavan, I just want to serve you. I want this sweet relationship always with me. Because once I become one with you, this relationship goes away. All these emotions I have, this love, this bhakti, this relationship, everything goes away, so I don't want. So such bhaktas, Bhagavan says, he is the highest. He has gone beyond three gunas. Sa eva bhakti yogakhyah atyantika udahritah yenati vrajya trigunam madbhavayopapadyate. So this is atyantika, the supreme bhakti. There is no bhakti greater than this. Bhagavan says, such a devotee, trigunam ativrajya, he crosses over all the three gunas and madbhavaya upapadyate, he attains me. Though he doesn't want to become with me, I make him one with me. So this, in the language of jnana, we say is a jnani bhakta. So jnani and bhakti, everything is one and the same. So he becomes one with Bhagavan. He is the highest. So these are the four types of devotees. Tamasic devotee, Rajasic devotee, Sattvic devotee and jnani. So how to develop this bhakti? All those sadhanas which were prescribed earlier. So with all kinds of spiritual sadhana, when the mind becomes pure, what happens? Yatha vataratho ghranam avrante gandha ashayat evam yogaratam chetah atmanam vikariyat. So it's a beautiful comparison is given. So there is a flower, it is emanating fragrance, and there is your nose somewhere far away. So what happens? When the wind blows, this wind carries the fragrance to the organ of smell, isn't it? In the same way. So how effortlessly the fragrance reaches the granendriya because of wind. In the same way, the mind is that fragrance. Wind is the bhakti. The flower is the jivatma. And Bhagwan is the granendriya. How easily the wind carries the fragrance to the organ of smell. In the same way, that mind which is thoroughly prepared through Bhakti Yoga, such a mind is easily carried from Jivatma to Paramatma. So through Bhakti Yoga, the mind becomes fit to become one with Him. Yes. Now Bhagwan talks a little about Murti Puja. So earlier he had given that sadhana, looking at the what you call form of the Lord, meditating upon the form, doing puja, etc. Now Bhagwan indicates a very big mistake which normally the devotee class do. What is the mistake? Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatma vasthitah sada tamavatnyayamamartyah kurutercha vidambanam. Bhagwan says, actually I am the self of all beings. But this devotee, what does he do? Tam avatnyaya, disregarding, ignoring, belittling that Lord who is residing in the hearts of all. He sees God only in His Murti, the idol of worship. So here is a devotee who is doing Murti Puja. Now where is he seeing God now? He is seeing God only in the Murti. As long as he is in the puja room doing all kinds of puja, he is a wonderful person. The moment he comes out of his puja room, all the kama krodhadis are waiting there to jump upon his shoulders. Right? So he has restricted that God only within the four walls of his puja room. In the office, he is a demon. In the family, he is a demon. He has no respect for anyone. All kinds of evil traits are with him. He hates others, ill-treats others. Now Bhagwan is very angry with such people. Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu santamatmanamishwaram hitvarcham bhajate maudhyad bhasmanyeva juhoti saha. Such a fool who ignores me, who is the self of all beings. What is he doing? Bhasmanyeva juhoti saha. Such a fool, his worship is like offering everything into a homa kunda where there is no fire. So in a yajna yaga karma, what is the most important thing? It's the fire inside that homa kunda, isn't it? Now he is offering everything. He is offering, everything is offering. Havis is there, everything is offering. But what is there inside? Only some ash is there. Bhasmani juhoti. Now, in any homa, havana, yaga, the fire is considered to be the carrier. Whatever you offer, these things, whatever you offered, are carried to the respective gods by the carrier called fire. It is the fire which carries. Agni Devata carries to all that. Now, Agni Devata himself is not there. So what happens when you offer everything? It remains there without reaching him, isn't it? Beautiful comparison. In the same way, whatever worship you do unto a murti, without paying attention to the real God in human form, all such worship is a waste. This is the meaning. Just like homa, havana, yaga, etc. conducted without fire doesn't serve the purpose. Dvishatah parakayemam. Such a person who hates me by hating others. I alone have become everything. All the living beings are none other than my own manifestation. When he is hating them, actually he is hating me. So therefore, such a person, namanas shantim richati. Such a person will never gain peace of mind. And it's a fact. You try to hate anyone, what is the state of your mind? We may not know that he is God, but the result of hatred is disturbance of mind. Why is the mind disturbed? This is the reason. When you are hating someone, you are hating God. When you are hating God, you are hating your own true self. And therefore there is this mind's disturbance. Namanas shanti mrichati. Such a person can never attain peace of mind. Naiva tushye, Bhagavan says, I am never pleased with such a kind of worship. So Bhagavan, do you say that one should not do Murti Puja? No, I never said that. What do you say? Archada varchayet tavat Ishwaram mam swakarma krita Yavanna veda swahridi sarvabhuteshva avasthitam. One should do Murti Puja. How long? As long as he doesn't see me in his own heart and sarvabhuteshu avasthitam. He must see me in his own heart and in the hearts of all. Till then he must see. So what is the purpose of Murti Puja? The purpose of Murti Puja is to see Bhagavan in our heart and in the hearts of all. Till this is gained, one should do Murti Puja. But this is the goal. If this goal is not served, then the Murti Puja will fail. It will not serve its purpose. This clarity has to be there, because everything Bhagavan has given. What are the possible blunders a devotee will commit? Murti Puja is a very, easy method of connecting with God, with Shodashopachara Puja, etc. But this is a big defect. What is the defect? You become so attached to your Ishtadevata that you start hating other gods. My God alone is superior, other gods are inferior. I alone am a great devotee, right devotee in the right path, all others are inferior. And now what happens? You are hating others. You are fighting with others. Bhagavan says, I don't like all this. There are Vaishnavites fighting with Shaivites. All these things happen in the society. In the name of God, maximum bloodshed has happened. In the name of God. God is supposed to be an embodiment of peace. In the name of peace, we create more and more disturbance. The purpose of any worship, in fact the purpose of religion, purpose of ritual, everything is this. This is the ultimate goal to be reached. And what is the ultimate goal? Seeing Bhagavan in all. Everyone is a manifestation of God. This is the ultimate goal. See, scriptures are very clear, but we have not studied the scriptures and we commit all kinds of blunders. So this understanding has to be there. Yes. Then Atmanascha parasyapi yah karotyantarodaram tasya bhinna drisho mrityuhu vidadhe bhayamulbanam. The one who considers himself to be different from others. Bhagavan says, such a fool, I subject him to extreme fear of death. The one who sees himself as different from others. So what is this vision of difference? What is the root cause of this vision? Body identification. Instead of seeing oneself as the supreme self, as consciousness, when one sees oneself to be the body, his vision will be the vision of difference. Bhagavan says, such a person will be subject to extreme fear of death. And that fear I only create, remaining in his heart. From where does that fear come from? Naturally, if he is attached to his body, the body has to die. And this fear of death of the body, he considers his own death. And thus, the fear comes. So therefore, athamam sarva bhuteshu भूतात्मानं कृतालयम् अहर्येद्दानमानाभ्यां मैत्राभिन्नेन चक्षुषा. Therefore, atha मां सर्वेषु भूतेषु. So one should see me in all beings. And according to the evolution of that being, you have to deal with him. So what are the different evolution? Either that being is higher than you, or that being is equal to you, or that being is lower than you in evolution. In whatever case it may be, you are supposed to see Bhagavan alone in him. So if that being is higher than you in evolution, then what have to do? Manabhyam, you must respect him, revere him. Holy people, fall at their feet, get their blessings. Manabhyam, higher ones. If the beings are equal to you, then Maitrabhihi, be friendly with that person. If suppose that person is less evolved than you, then Aharye Dana, Danena, by charity. So sharing with the less privileged ones, the less evolved ones. So this way, seeing me in everyone, you must live. So now a question comes, Bhagavan, how do we know who is evolved and who is not evolved? You say those people who are more evolved, you must worship them, etc. Less evolved, you should help them, etc. But how do we know the ladder of evolution? So now a big ladder is given. From the insentient things to the most evolved ones, a big ladder is given. Let us see what that ladder is. जीवाश्रेष्ठा ह्यजीवानां ततः प्राणभृतः शुभे ततः सचित्ताः प्रवराः ततश्चेन्द्रियवृत्तयः. जीवाः श्रेष्ठा ह्यजीवानां. Compared to the inert things like stone, etc., जीवाः श्रेष्ठा. Sentient beings are more evolved. The beings having life. So compared to stone, this, that, etc., the living beings, say for example trees, they are more evolved. Then, tataf pranabhritaha shubhe. Compared to them, those beings which are breathing, they are more higher. Tataha sachittaha. Compared to them, those beings in which the mind is present. Slowly, slowly the mind also has evolved. Those beings are more higher. Tataha cha indriya vrittayaha. Higher than that are the beings in whom the indriyas are developed. The sense organs are developed. Among the sense organs, the first one is tatrapi sparsha vedibhyah pravaraarasavedinah tebhyo gandhavida sreshthas tatah shabdavido varaha. The first one is sparshavidah. Sparshavidah means what? So these five senses. Sparshavidah means those beings which are able to feel the touch. Sparsha is there. Like for example again vegetation. They feel. Then pravara rasavedinaha. Higher than that is rasavedinaha. The beings which can know the taste, like fish. So higher than vegetation will be fish. Then tebhyo gandhavidah sreshtaha. Higher than that is gandhavidah. Smell. Like bees. Tataha shabdavido varaha. Higher than that are shabdavidah. Shabdavidah means what? The beings in whom the organ of hearing is evolved. Example, sarpa, snake. Then Rupa Bheda Vidastatra Tatascho Bhayatodaya. Higher than that are the beings which can see properly. Rupa Bheda Vidaha. For example, a crow or a bird can see. Higher than that is Tatascha Ubhayoto. Those beings having teeth on both the jaws. Then Tesham Bahupadasreshtaha Chatushpadastato Dvipat. Now comes the legs. So the most unevolved beings, the beings without legs. For example, trees. Higher than that, beings with multiple legs, like centipede. Higher than that, beings with 4 legs. Higher than that, beings with 2 legs. Higher than that, don't say being with 1 leg. So now, this much is the physical evolution. So you will find that the human beings are the highest. So in human beings, there is life, the mind is fully evolved, the senses are fully evolved, all the 5 senses fully evolved. Then, as far as legs are concerned, from no legs to multiple legs to 4 legs, then finally 2 legs, the highest. Right? And the jaw also having all teeth intact, both the sides. So at the physical level, this is the highest evolution possible. Now what? Now human beings, we have reached human beings. Further, how is the evolution? Tato varnascha chatvarah tesham brahmana uttamah brahmaneshvapi vedajnah hyartajñobhyadhikastatah. Among human beings, who is the highest? So, 4 varnas: Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras. Who is the highest? Brahmana is the highest. Okay. Brahmaneshvapi vedajnah. The one who knows how to chant Vedas, he is higher. Among Brahmanas also, the one who can chant Vedas, he is superior. Then, Hyartajñah abhyatikastataha. Higher than Vedajña is Arthajña. So not only he knows how to chant, he knows the meaning also. He is still higher. Arthajñat samshayacheta tatashreyan swakarmakrit mukta sangastato bhuyan adogdha dharmamatmanah. So from higher than Vedajña is Arthajña, higher than Arthajña is Samshayacheta. Not only he knows the meaning of the Vedas, he is able to dispel the doubts of others. Meaning he has thoroughly understood it. He knows the meaning of Vedas and also he is able to dispel the doubt of others. Samshayacheta. Tatashreyan swakarmakrita. Higher than that is a person who puts this knowledge into practice, who lives it. Higher than that, mukta sangastato bhuyan adogdha dharmamatmanah. Higher than him is the one who not only practices it, but practices it selflessly. He performs all his duties selflessly. He is still higher. Is there anyone higher? Yes. This is the highest. Who is he? Tasman mayyarpita shesha kriyarthatma nirantarah mayyarpitatmanah pumso mayi sanyasta karmanah na pashyami param bhutam akartu samadarsanat. Bhagavan says, higher than him, I don't see anyone else. Who is he? Mai arpita ashesha kriya. The one who has totally surrendered unto me. He has surrendered his body, his mind, his intellect, his karmas, his karma phalas, such a person, sanyasta karmana, who has renounced everything unto me, he has totally surrendered unto me. And now what is his condition? Samadarshanaha. He is having a vision of oneness. What is his vision? All beings are none other than manifestation of God. And when he performs action, what is his attitude? Akarta, I don't do anything. It is Bhagavan who is doing it. I am only his instrument. I am not the doer, God is the doer. Such a person, Bhagavan say, Na pashyami param bhutam. I don't see anyone higher than him. He is the most evolved among the entire creation. He is the most worshipful, adorable. He is the one who has become one with me. So therefore, one must practice what he lives. So what is the practice? Manasaitani bhutani pranamed bahumanayan Ishvaro jiva kalaya pravishto bhagavaniti. What should one do? Praname, bow down to everyone. Bahumanayan. How should you bow down to others? With great respect, love. Why? How should you bow down? Manasa, with your mind. Bow down to everyone. Considering what? Ishvaraha jiva kalaya pravishtaha. Bhagavan himself has entered into all these beings as jiva. In short, seeing Bhagavan in all beings. This is the way one must live. Seeing Bhagavan in everyone. So the same thing is mentioned in Ishavasya. What is it? Ishavasyamidam sarvam. Whatever is there is Bhagavan alone. So this is the thing which we as sadhakas have to practice. What is to be practiced? Everything is none other than Bhagavan. Bhagavan alone has become everyone and everything. Bhakti yogascha maya manavyudiritaha yayorekatarena purushah purusham vrajet. O Mother, now I have given you these two paths, the path of Bhakti Yoga and the path of Jnana Yoga. Out of these two, any one you practice and you will reach the ultimate goal. Right? So now we have seen that evolution from the insentient to the most evolved. In everything, Bhagavan exists. So if you see, in the insentient things like stone, etc., the Sat aspect is seen. Out of the three, Satchidananda, what aspect is seen? Sat. Sat means existence. They are all existing. That Sat aspect is seen in the inert thing. As it evolves, the other one also comes in. What is the other one? Chit. Sat Chit. Chit means what? Consciousness. There is awareness. So as the beings evolve, from that Sat aspect, Chit also is added. And what is the final one? Ananda. You see the most evolved beings, saints and sages. What is the unique feature in them? Nandati nandati nandatyeva yogarato va bhogarato va sangarato va sangavihinaha yasya brahmani ramate chittam nandati nandati nandatyeva. So in that highest being, this Ananda aspect also is seen. So those beings are complete beings, full of Satchit Anand. So the same thing is mentioned in a beautiful way here. Now, Devahuti asks another question also. Bhagavan, I hear about Kala Bhagavan. Kala, time. Please elaborate on that aspect also. What is this Kala? Because very many times, people don't use the term Bhagavan, they use time, Kala. So I want to know more about this Kala. So Bhagavan says, this Kala also is me only. Kala, the time also has no existence other than me. It is me myself. It is under this Kala's influence. So now the whole description comes. It is under his influence that the Avyakta Prakriti evolves into Mahattattva. Mahattattva evolves into Ahankara. And all the Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic Ahankara comes. It is under his influence that Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are able to do the creation, preservation and dissolution. It is under his influence that all the jivas, whatever karmas they have done, they reap their karma phalas. Everything under his influence. It is under his influence. Now here it is. Yad bhayad vati vatoyam suryastapati yad bhayat yad bhayad varshate devo bhagano bhati yad bhayat yad vanaspatayo bhita लताश्चौषधिभिः सह स्वे स्वे काले विगृह्णन्ति पुष्पाणि च फलानि च. Whatever is happening in this world, it is all because of that influence of Kala. Out of fear of him, out of fear of this Kala, Bhagavan, yad bhayad vati vataha, the wind blows. Now it is all blowing. Out of the fear of Lord, it blows. Suryas tapati yad bhayad, the sun burns out of his fear. Yad bhayad varshate devaha, Indra Bhagavan, out of fear, he brings down rain. Bhagano bhati yad bhayad, the stars shine out of his fear. Then all the trees, the plants, the creepers, at the right season, they bring out flowers and fruits out of his fear. The rivers flow out of his fear. The oceans don't cross the limit out of his fear. The fire burns out of his fear. The earth and the mountains, they are not submerged in water out of his fear. The space allows everyone accommodation out of his fear. Right? Though this Kala Bhagavan is beginningless and endless, he is the one who sets beginning and end to all beings. Himself being beginningless and endless, he marks the beginning and end to all beings. Himself being deathless, it marks the death to even Lord Death, Yamaraj. So that Kala is none other than Bhagavan's power. That Kala also is not different from Bhagavan. So with this, that chapter ends. Now in the evening, we will have a greater description of what we have discussed in the morning. Asuryanamate lokaha andhena tamasavrataha tanste pretyabhigachanti yeke chatmahano janaha. Who are these atmahano janaha? Those who commit suicide. That description elaborately is going to come. That we will see in the evening.